Hi everyone, thank you very much for joining us today for this next installment of the SquaredUp Coffee Break series. Today we are talking about Citrix monitoring with GripMatix. I'm joined today by Merijn and Marc from GripMatix, and they will be our expert panel for today. My name's Adam Kinniburgh, I'm VP of Customer Success here at SquaredUp. So just as a quick intro, so Merijn and Marc, like I said, both work for GripMatix. Merijn, product architect and developer, and Marc is the Citrix specialist and product architect. So hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Thank you very much again for joining us today. Just before we kick off, I just want to give everyone a quick reminder that they can sort of join the discussion in a couple of different ways. Feel free to ask questions via the chat page in GoToWebinar. We'll have a little Q&A session at the end. You can also join our community Slack channel. And then for anything else sort of Citrix and SCOM related, head over to SquaredUp's blog. There's a few sort of great articles on there, and we'll also be posting back a video for this session and also a write-up if you want to sort of share it around. So if we jump straight in, I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and it'd be great if you guys could sort of help me out with some answers. So let's start by talking about why I should monitor CVAD stacks with SCOM. Also, just to call out for those of you who've used Citrix for a while, we're talking Zen App, Zen Desktop here. So the new name, Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktops. If you hear us saying CVAD, that's what we're talking about. So yeah, up on the screen you can see the questions that I'd like you guys to help me with. So let's start with why should I monitor Citrix with SCOM? Merijn, do you want to help me out with some answers?
Yeah, I will first introduce myself. I'm a cloud architect and mainly specialized in monitoring and automation with System Center, Azure Monitor, and Azure Automation. And today actually Marc will be the Citrix expert, while I'll be the SCOM specialist. So Marc, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, hello guys. My name is Marc van der Veer. I'm Citrix specialist at GripMatix, and I have more than 10 years experience with designing and implementing Citrix solutions, most based on server-based computing and virtual desktop infrastructures. And that's something we're going to talk about a lot today. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Marc. So, let's start with the first question, obviously. Why should I monitor CVAD stacks with SCOM? Interesting question. I will show you a slide, because to answer that question, I first need you to understand a couple of things about CVAD stacks and actually stacks in general. So yeah, what's it like to monitor a CVAD stack? So let's have a look at this one. This is a really common CVAD stack, an on-premise one. And I can see a user layer up here with several delivery groups in it. And your delivery groups represent user resources like virtual applications or virtual desktops. I can also see an access layer, and there's StoreFront in it, and StoreFront holds up your delivery group objects. So your users can click on them to get access to their resources, like those virtual applications, virtual desktops. There is a resource layer with all kinds of catalogs in it. And they hold up server and desktop OS machines. And your user workflows are running on there, so important to monitor. But however, these objects in this layer are logical objects, because the real resources are coming from here, from the hardware layer. And you can see all kinds of component types in there, like server hardware, storage, network devices, your hypervisors, virtual machines, maybe some cloud VMs, and of course your clients, thin or fat clients, or both. Yeah, and your hardware layer obviously provides resources for your control layer, which forms up the heart of a CVAD stack. So let's see what's inside there. I can see delivery controllers. And a delivery controller heavily relies on Active Directory. It also heavily depends on infra services like DNS, DHCP, and file services. It uses a SQL database. Each site, the delivery controllers of each site use its own database. Then the delivery controller needs access to a Citrix license server. You need licenses on it. So if you don't have enough licenses, Citrix licenses, there's no CVAD service for your users. There is Citrix PVS, if that's your provisioning method for your serverless machines. So as you can see, a lot of stuff to be monitored, a lot of component types and layers.
It's probably quite fair to say as well that it's not all the sort of like, it's not just all core sort of Citrix technology. There's a lot of infrastructure involved in making Citrix work. That's definitely not provided by Citrix, right? It's lots of operating systems, SQL servers, lots going on.
Yeah, that's the point exactly. So you can see that actually the largest part of the stack is not even formed up by Citrix components, but non-Citrix components, the ones in red. So, but yeah, the ones in green are Citrix components, and they heavily rely on those in red. So you need to monitor them all to get that grip, to be in control. If you do full stack monitoring, and emphasize on stack. So yeah, as you can see, a lot of data that needs to be collected and processed by your monitoring system or systems. A lot of component type data. And yeah, how do you get those solutions to do this? Or a solution, maybe it's one solution, maybe you need multiple. How do you do this? How do you achieve this? There are generally two approaches, we think. The first one is the best of breed approach. The other one, the best in suite approach. And I'll discuss them one by one real quick. So this is the best of breed approach. And with a best of breed approach, you choose the best point solution to monitor your component type, right? The best solutions you choose. And that way you will get high data quality, obviously, because you will make sure you get that. And because you will choose the solutions that meet your organizational requirements the best. So you will get that. However,
so this means also you use more monitoring solutions next to each other, right?
Exactly, at the same time, yeah. And but so that makes sure that you get high data quality, because you choose the best point solution for your component type as your organization, and you have several of them. So multiple vendors are doing your are helping doing your monitoring. And every point solution is dedicated to a specific task, so it will be good, right? However, you don't get any integration between those point solutions. Now, that's a pity. That's a drawback, because then you don't get any single pane of glass dashboarding. It will be hard to do that.
You then end up in a world where you're having to sort of support another platform to integrate all this data, and even then you're still not getting the, I guess you've still got very different sets of data to compare, and in some cases it might just not be possible to actually make those comparisons, right? Because the tools could be just too different in the way that they approach monitoring those particular stacks.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you could go for a best of suite approach, and it looks like this. Then you get one suite that does it all, and then you can integrate that component type data with each other, and that means you get that single pane of glass dashboarding now. Because of that integration, you will get some role-based access most of the time, so you can define what team sees what. Also, alert lifecycling will be possible then most of the time, and that's very important to manage the process of your of solving your alerts properly. And yeah, you can integrate with a service management platform system most of the time too, like ServiceNow or Topdesk to create tickets in. So yeah, this means that you can create a standardized event management process quite easily because it's one platform that does it all and in a standardized way. However, you will lose some on data quality. Why? Because it's only one vendor now that has to do it all. And yeah, that vendor can't be the best in everything, right? But what if I tell you that there is a platform called SCOM? You can install your little point solutions on. Wouldn't that be great, Adam?
Well, I knew we'd be going this way eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, then you still get that integration, right? Because it's one platform. But you don't lose so much on data quality now compared to the best of breed approach, to a true best of breed approach, which you do with a normal suite, because you still got that best of breed characteristic now, right? You have got multiple vendors providing solutions for you again. Multiple vendors, providers are helping you doing your monitoring. So that must mean something, right, for your data quality, we think. So yeah, multiple vendors do a job instead of just one.
I definitely agree with that. You get all the benefits of the big sort of single platform and the big single source of truth for all your data, but you're still getting that sort of granular, specific monitoring that you would get from your individual dedicated tools.
Yeah, so it's the best of both worlds, actually.
Yeah, yes. And well, maybe that's the reason why SCOM is the most used platform for monitoring CVAD, at least to a survey called or done by VDI Like a Pro. They do this every year, and every year it's the same result. SCOM is the most used platform for monitoring CVAD. To be honest, it's not directly saying that. It's directly saying that SCOM is the most used platform for SBC and VDI in general. But it's also directly saying that CVAD is the most used platform for SBC and VDI. So that, and yeah, together with our understanding of the market, for us it's safe to say that this is true. SCOM is the most used platform for monitoring CVAD as well. But have a look yourself, just Google, and yeah, it's a nice survey. These guys do this every year, and it's not only about monitoring.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It gives you a lot of insight of the market of everything that's going on within SBC or VDI solutions. So it's definitely worth to check it out.
So, and yeah, with SCOM you do get that full stack monitoring. You can create those single pane of glass dashboards while still getting decent data quality, good data quality. Maybe not as good as with a true best of breed approach, but better than with a regular suite without the best of breed characteristic. So yeah, it's a nice choice, I think. And perhaps that's the reason it's the most used one.
Okay, I think that's a pretty sort of compelling reason for why I should be monitoring CVAD stacks with SCOM. You get the benefit of the single platform, the best in suite approach, but you're also getting those nice little add-ons from the vendors. So you're not losing necessarily on data quality, but you are still being able to integrate all that data into one place and sort of approach your monitoring as a strategy rather than as a collection of tools. Talking about a collection of tools, if we move on to the next question, what's the difference between SCOM and Citrix Director? Anyone who's sort of monitored Citrix in the past will be very aware of Citrix Director. So what are the differences? Can you walk us through it?
I think I can answer the third question at the same time too. Should I choose one instead of the other?
Yeah, please do. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, this is SCOM, right? Same slide as before. And yeah, then this is Citrix Director. It's your point solution. It's one of the point solutions, like Cisco Primus, for instance, for monitoring your Cisco network devices. Citrix Director is your point solution for monitoring CVAD. And yeah, it does that very well because it's a point solution, right? It's built for that task. It provides generally more detail, more granular data than a monitor platform does. However, its scope is small. It only monitors CVAD. It doesn't monitor Citrix StoreFront even, or a Citrix PVS. It doesn't do all of this, obviously, the non-Citrix components. And yeah, you can't do this, you can't do this, and no standardized event management process either. But yeah, so we think you should use them together, especially if that point solution comes along with your product, right? And in the case of Citrix Director, that is true. It comes together with your Citrix licenses. You can use it. It's a point solution, and use it as your microscope, while SCOM functions as your binoculars to scan for events in your environment. So like this, actually. So SCOM is scanning your IT landscape and your stacks, like CVAD stacks. When it has detected an event, just grab your point solution to look into the event, to deep dive into it, find the root cause, and solve it. If you couldn't do it with SCOM alone, which you can most of the time, we think, but if you cannot, just grab a point solution or two and deep dive into the event. And then at the same time, that platform can create tickets in ServiceNow, for instance. So yeah, use them together.
So as a quick example, you might find that your alert's been triggered by SCOM to say that there's a performance issue with CVAD. It's going to create a ticket in ServiceNow. Someone's going to be able to jump on that and start looking at it in SCOM. And they'd obviously have the benefit of all of the context from there. So they'd be able to see, is it a SQL problem? Is it a networking problem? Is it a hypervisor problem? And if they find out that it is a specific problem with CVAD itself, and they're perhaps not getting quite the sort of, like you said, the sort of the microscope view, they can then jump into Citrix Director as that sort of last step to really get to that root cause.
Yeah, exactly. Nicely summarized. Thanks. So yeah, I think we have covered these questions, answered them, but we've got some more, I believe.
I guess the next section that we want to cover, Citrix have announced the end of life date for their own SCOM management packs as being next month, which is obviously sort of pretty soon. So as our resident Citrix expert, can you give us a bit of insight into why they've chosen to do this? And then we'll move on to what does this announcement mean for current customers using Citrix's own SCOM management packs?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. Well, to answer those questions, first I will go a little bit into the history. So as you may know, the SCOM management pack from Citrix actually originates from Comtrade, which are now known as Haiku. So in 2016, in January, Citrix acquired the Citrix management packs from Comtrade. And since then, they offer them as a part within their premium, or also known as previously Platinum, licensing offering for XenApp and Desktop, or now known as virtual apps and desktops. So also since the acquisition of the management pack itself was not available as a separate purchase anymore. So since then, it was only available as part of the premium license offer. So that also meant that for a lot of Citrix customers that were using SCOM to monitor their Citrix platform, the only option to make use of their SCOM management packs from the former Comtrade was to upgrade their CVAD licensing to the premium licensing. Well, luckily this changed because in November 2018, we released an alternative SCOM management packs for Citrix, which I will discuss further on. And it's available for everyone, regardless of the licensing that's being used for Citrix virtual apps and desktops.
If we just for a minute sort of ignore that to have this from Citrix, you needed to have the premium license tier. That's obviously not great for everyone, but it seems like pretty good news, right? That Citrix themselves want to start sort of taking on the ownership of the management packs for their stack. It seems like a good move that the vendor themselves are committed to sort of helping people use SCOM to monitor Citrix stacks.
Yeah, absolutely. They actually acknowledged that back then that SCOM is a tool being used a lot within companies. And it was a very logical step, I think, to buy those management packs from Contract. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like there's some bad news coming though.
Well, let's jump a little bit further in time. So in 2017, by the end of October, Citrix made an announcement that a few of their SCOM management pack would go end of maintenance and end of life. Actually, they were talking about these management packs. So actually, this was a first sign that apparently Citrix was not really further investing in maintenance and development of their acquired SCOM management packs. Also, it's interesting to know that the virtual apps and desktop management pack, the latest release came out also in November 2017. And since then, the release has never been updated anymore. So that says something, right?
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
So, well, if we follow the timeline, in 2018 in November, we released Metrics Insight for CVAD. So it is a bundle of SCOM management packs to monitor a complete CVAD stack. So from this moment on, it was possible for customers that didn't have the premium licenses also to monitor their Citrix environment again with SCOM. So actually from this moment, there was an alternative available on the market.
Yeah. Where's that Superman logo?
Yeah, indeed, yeah. We are saving the day. So in 2019, fast forward, the big word came out in December. Citrix announces that they will stop with maintaining and putting all their management pack on the end of life status as of June 2020. So that was actually pretty disappointing, I can imagine, for all those customers that, especially for the SCOM management pack, upgraded their licensing to the premium licenses. Yeah, so yeah, June is actually nearing pretty fast. It's actually next month. And then, Citrix will definitely stop with developing and supporting their management packs. So the announcement was made through this article on their website. And what actually surprised me was this particular sentence. Actually, it looks like Citrix was also making propaganda about the earlier rumors within the community that Azure Monitor, or known previously as OMS, would probably replace SCOM very soon. And actually, they are saying something like, yeah, SCOM as a platform should be considered dead. Well, I think that's fake news. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We hear from lots of our enterprise customers that they have no planned retirement of SCOM at this stage. There's just, Azure Monitor, OMS as it was at the time, just it isn't a like-for-like replacement. It may get there eventually, but it's definitely going to be a long time before Microsoft get rid of the System Center suite. And I mean, the SCOM product team is certainly sort of reinvigorated and larger now that it has been recently. And, with update rollups coming out left, right, and center, there's definitely still lots of work going into System Center. So yeah, I would definitely agree that it's fake news. Some customers are moving to Azure, but it tends to be more like, they're moving all of their on-prem resources to Azure and therefore defaulting to Azure Monitor. It does not seem to be the case whatsoever that people are monitoring their on-prem resources with Azure Monitor exclusively. Certainly maybe some log analytics work around certain systems, but yeah, fake news for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think SCOM is here to stay, and they're still developing a lot of new features. So I think we can enjoy SCOM for a long time still.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, quite some update rollups every year, right? How many times a year? 2?
Yeah, usually.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going end of life anytime soon.
No, I would agree. So it sounds like they've sort of chosen to do this off the back of, I guess, Microsoft's own sort of marketing machine, sort of trying to push people towards Azure services as the default. Citrix have then, they've taken it, they've done it themselves. They're, still producing a Citrix Director, so not all is lost.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah, I think this is the vision of Citrix about using SCOM to monitor is probably one of the reasons they pulled out the plug as well.
Yeah.
On their SCOM management packs.
So just before we move on to a demo, what does this end of life announcement mean for current Citrix customers who have Citrix SCOM MPs?
Yeah, well, basically there are now 2 SCOM management pack options. So the first one is actually the Citrix SCOM management pack from Citrix themselves. It's, like I said before, it's only available for Citrix Premium licensed customers. And the end of life date has been announced. So that means that there will be no more updates in the future, and it will also not be supported anymore. The latest release is from late 2017. That also means that out of the box, it supports maximum version 7.16 of Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktops. But I was reading some blog article from Stoyan Chalakov about that there is some registry available to get the management per pack working as well for CVAD 7.18.
Okay.
So that's one option. The other option is using Matrix Insight for CVAD, which is our SCOM management pack. And it is available for all CVAD licensed customers. And we support the latest and the future CVAD releases. So we are very maintaining and developing our solution continuously. And we provide regular feature and quality updates. So with each release, we have new monitors, new rules, new reporting stuff. So it's get better and better over time. And it's interesting to mention also that our solution has been certified as Citrix Ready.
A member of the audience has just asked a quick question. They're looking at replacing Citrix management packs. They've been sort of investigating a solution from EG Innovations.
EG Innovations. Well, actually, EG Innovations, they are not offering a true Citrix SCOM management pack, but they more offer like something, a universal SCOM pack to create something like a bridge between their own monitoring platform, EG Enterprise, and SCOM. So in that way, you can integrate their own monitoring platform within SCOM, but yeah, you're still running another monitoring platform with their own infrastructure, consists of own agents, databases, management servers and stuff next to SCOM.
So you might get all of your monitoring data, but it's effectively it's not SCOM that's doing the monitoring, right? It's just a way to get that external data into SCOM. Okay. So tell us about your solution then. Let's get into it. The audience is desperate to know more, so let's dive in.
Yeah. So I will explain a little bit about Matrix Insight for CVAD. So it is a true SCOM management pack that is running purely on SCOM to monitor your on-premise Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop environment. So it discovers and monitors all the important Citrix infrastructure components within the different layers that exist within your Citrix infrastructure. So it can dynamically discover and visualize the platform to give you that single point of class experience. So yeah, like I said, our solution is certified as Citrix Ready. That also means you can find us in the Citrix Ready marketplace on this particular link. And that means also that our solution has been validated and approved by Citrix and verified that it's compatible with the Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop solution of Citrix. Also, our solution, you can find it back within the Microsoft Partner Solutions, within the SCOM Management Console. So if you are in the SCOM Management Console and you navigate to Administration pane and Partner Solution, you will find our solution there as well. So, like I said, we discover and monitor a lot of components within a CVAD stack, and we are using the typical layers that exist within an environment, like the access layer that consists of StoreFront, the control layer that consists of the CVAD sites, the zones, delivery controllers, the delivery groups that exist in the user layer, the different machine catalogs that exist in the resource layer, and of course the hosting connections regarding your hardware platform. So, well, we monitor a lot, and for a full list of monitors and rules, I advise you to consult our data sheet that is available on our website, GripMatix.com. So, yeah, we support all the relevant on-premise Citrix virtual apps and desktops releases, and also all the mainstream supported SCOM and OS releases by Microsoft. And like we mentioned before, we continuously develop new features and quality updates to improve the monitoring experience and also support the latest Citrix releases.
Just while we're on this slide, a member of the audience asked, and I guess the answer is yes, based on what we just saw, whether you support the 1912 long-term service release.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, we support until the latest release. That's version 2003. That has been released in March this year. And yeah, 1912 is also definitely supported. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
So our solution makes use of resource pools. So in that way, we offer also high availability. And you can easily scale out as necessary to put additional agents or gateways or management servers within those resource pools. And because we are using resource pools for each StoreFront server group, for each Citrix virtual apps and desktop site, and each PVS farm, we are also able to support actually multi-tenancy environments. And then, of course, we created a very nice SquaredUp community dashboard, and that contains a lot of drill downs. And yeah, we think dashboard tools like SquaredUp really complement the data to present it in a very nice way. And yeah, in a moment, I'm gonna demo actually the SquaredUp community dashboard there. So it's demo time.
Yay, finally.
All right, so I hope you guys can share my screen. There we go. So it's loading all the data. So what we see here is actually the main dashboard, which consists of different components like an overview of all the objects, the open alerts, and some key metrics on site level. As you can see here, we have actually in this demo environment 2 sites running, one based on CVAD current release, so that is the 2003 release I just mentioned before. And we have a legacy site running based on Xen Desktop 7.6. As you can see here, the blue one is the new site and the orange one is the legacy site. So you can see here in a nice view the average site logon for each site. So then you see here an overview of the different delivery groups that exist within these 2 sites. And in here, the different server OS machines that are running with some key metrics that are important, like the load index, the CPU time, memory percentage, and the amount of concurrent sessions and the VDES cache file size that is related to each server OS machine. So on the left side, you see the active alerts that are currently active. And in here, this view, you see the different Citrix infrastructure layers that I was talking about before. So actually, we based it on the design principles of a typical Citrix environment. So the user layer and the access layer, resource layer, hardware layer, and control layer. So in this way, a Citrix administrator can also easily find his way through the topology and to drill down to each different infrastructure objects within the CVAD stack.
Could you scope the time into 1 hour, Mark?
Yes, sure, I will.
Yeah, I like that.
That gives some nice pictures. You see here more. Yeah, indeed, it looks pretty. So let's just drill down in a few user layers and let's see what is under there. So if I click on the user layer, so the user layer is actually the part where the different delivery groups reside. So if I click on that, I see here again the 2 sites that are running within this demo environment. So if I drill down furthermore in a particular site, I get a perspective from that particular site. So you can see here the maximum logon duration of each delivery group that is running within this site. So I really like this about SquaredUp, that you can highlight it, so you can easily see for what delivery group the max logon duration happened. And you see here also the amount logons for each delivery groups and the average logon duration. And as you can see here, that this particular one, the development VDI, is obviously running way higher than the rest of the delivery groups.
It runs on ESX, right? That one.
Yeah, true. That environment in our demo is not really performing well, and you can see that also back in the average logon duration for each user.
Our ESX environment is not that fast.
No, no, obviously. So yeah, and here you can also see the failed connection that have occurred within the site, the amount of desktop that reached the maximum capacity, and the amount of failed desktops. So yeah, every view is related to a site, and you can easily see what is actually happening within those sites and what alerts are currently active. So we can drill down furthermore in delivery group level. So let's drill down to this particular delivery group. You see again all the metrics that are related to the delivery group. And as you can see here, you see here the different monitors that we have enabled on this delivery group. So we monitor the percentage connection fields, the available servers, the average logon duration, the amount of concurrent session that consists of connected and disconnected sessions, if there are desktops filled or not, if there are some expired disconnected sessions. This is actually an interesting one, as a best practice within a Citrix environment is that you log off your disconnected session after a while, so to prevent that they will consume precious resources on your environment. And this monitor actually checks if those disconnected sessions that actually should be logged off are still running or not. So they can be considered as expired if they do. And then there's probably something wrong with the particular session that has been expired.
Yeah.
So,
below, Mark, below that widget, server machines is only 1 now. But
yes.
Yeah, but only 1 is attached to this delivery group. But yeah, usually you have more serverized machines, of course. But this one has only 1 in our environment. Yeah,
correct. So it's being built up dynamically. So this particular delivery group only exists of 1 serverized machine. What is very also interesting to see is this particular metric. It's the user session round trip time. And the user session round trip time is actually the time that it's been taken between the user presses a key on their keyboard and the time that it reflects the changes within your screen. So this round trip time actually says a lot about the user experience that the user is experiencing on your platform. And well, I think user experience is where it's all about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It seems like there's a lot more, I guess there's a lot more data available to find out why, ultimately why someone has opened a support request against a Citrix environment. It's, you're actually getting the kind of information that lets you see what they're, how they're experiencing their Citrix sessions. So as well as obviously all the hardware metrics, that kind of stuff. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And the nice thing is also that you can go back in time as well. And that's really a pro about using SCOM for monitoring your CVAD stack, for example. If you compare it, for example, to Citrix Director, based on your license, you have only a retention time for 30 days or a year if you have the Platinum license. Well, with SCOM, it only depends about how you configured your SCOM database. So you can go way back in time to see what actually happened over time and maybe correlate it to some changes that occurred within your environment to see, hey, the ICA round trip time went pretty high since we changed this on this particular date. So yeah, that's also something I really like, that all that data is just available within your SCOM database.
And you can see from which client this session has been started to which VDA. That's also nice too.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the detailed view of the ICA RTT, and here you can see the user that is involved within that session. Here you see the client name, and here you see the VDA where the user was connected on. So you can already from SCOM correlate a lot in which situation for which user the high ICA round trip time occurred.
I think this quite nicely answers a quick question from the audience about whether for your product you need any additional, SQL databases or anything like that. I think that the key message is that it's, it's SCOM doing the monitoring, everything's in the data warehouse, right?
Yeah, that's correct. All right, so let's go back to the main dashboard and let's zoom in a little bit more to the resource layer. So the resource layer are actually the resources where all the user transactions run on. So in here we have again 2 CVAD sites. We can zoom into them. And as you can see here on site level, there are 3 machine catalogs available and all of them have been assigned. Also, you can see here that this site consists of these different server OS machines, or multi-session machines, how it's called nowadays. And you can see in a nice overview how the write cache file size is doing, because these machines are provisioned by a provisioning server. So we can zoom on furthermore within zones, because a site can consist of multiple zones. And within a zone, 1 or more catalogs exist. So you can drill down all the way down to server OS machine level. So on server OS machine level, you can see that we have also a few monitors, like the concurrent session that are running on this particular machine, default state, if it's pingable or not, if it's in maintenance mode or not, the load index, and the uptime. And we monitor the uptime because it is best practice to reboot your server OS machines once in a while to keep your performance nice and to get a nice user experience for your end users.
Could you show a server OS machine with PVS too?
Yes. So I scroll a little bit back and then I go to a multi-session machine. As you can see here, there are a little bit more PVS serverless machine that exists in here. And here you can see all the different metrics that's related to this particular serverless machine.
Yeah, now you have that write cache monitoring below.
Yeah. So you can see also how that develops against time. So you can see it slowly running up.
We've had a couple of questions from the audience around what the monitoring against Citrix licenses looks like. Would you be able to give us a quick example?
Yeah. Yeah, so I will navigate back to my main dashboard. And the licensing component is actually a component within the console layer. We can click here on the licensing. So as you can see here, we have, because we are using two environments, we have also two license servers within our environment running. And we can drill down furthermore, and you can see here the different Windows services that form up the Citrix license server. And here you can see the different licenses that exist on our license server. So you can drill down here as well. And here you can see the number of licenses that are available during time, the number of licenses in use, and the percentages of licenses in use. And also in here, you can zoom out back in time to see actually how many licenses are actually being used within your environment. Based on that, you can scale up furthermore or maybe even scale down.
Nice. So there's an element of sort of capacity planning involved in there as well by being able to see trend over time. That's really neat. And I see some I see some alerts there as well. One alert in this case.
Yeah, so this is the license subscription advantage expiration monitor. So actually that means that a license file comes with a subscription advantage date in it. And it is actually best practice to keep your subscription advantage up to date. As during a subscription advantage, you retain the rights to upgrade your environment to the latest Citrix releases. And therefore, when you renew your subscription advantage, it is best practice to reload those license file again on your license server to actually reflect that subscription advantage date in your environment. Mm-hmm. So you will not be prevented while you're trying to upgrade your delivery controllers, for example.
Did you click on it, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah, and go to monitor configuration.
So for also the monitors, we have some product knowledge as well. So it will describe what does this actually mean and what can you do to fix the warnings or the errors that may occur on the monitors.
You mentioned there sort of being best practice to sort of try and stick to the latest versions of Citrix. Someone's asked how sort of the opposite. How far back do you go in terms of Citrix versions? What's the oldest version of Citrix that you can monitor with your MP?
Yeah, so we go back until XenApp and XenDesktop 7.6. And during time, new monitor and metrics came up. So in that way, that it's in general, it is wise to always keep up with your Citrix releases. But we support them from XenApp, XenDesktop 7.6.
Okay. I'm conscious of the time for our 30-minute coffee break. Are there any other key parts of the demo that you'd like to show to the audience?
Yeah. So PVS is a component, for example, that is not being monitored by Director, but is a very vital part of your infrastructure. So we monitor the device count and the state of each PVS server. and the different services that run on it. But we also monitor the PVS farms, the PVS sites, the PVS stores, and the PVS feed disks. So if I click on that one, for example, we discover the different PVS feed disks that are running, and we monitor them if they are load balanced or not, and if their cache type is configured in a best practice situation. And we monitor if the feed disk is replicated or not. That's obviously something that's sometimes being forgotten by Citrix administrators when they deploy a new feed disk image. It's very important that you replicate those changes to each PVS server. And this monitor helps you to make sure that the feed disk version has been replicated to each PVS server. So you maintain high availability.
And again, there's product knowledge for this monitor, as it is for every monitor we developed. You can see and understand why this monitor had gone off, has been triggered, and what to do to solve the event that it has detected.
Exactly.
Merijn, are you happy to talk about how your management pack's licensed?
Yeah, so we have actually two models, and it depends on your Citrix license. So, for example, if you have 800 concurrent user licenses, then you need 800 at least Matrix Insight licenses for CCU. Same applies to if you have, for example, 900 user device licenses, you need 900 at least Matrix Insight for CVAD licenses. But just request a quote and we'll get back to you on GripMatix.com.
So do you provide any monitoring for NetScalers or ADC?
Currently, it's not included within the solution, but it is definitely on our roadmap to include those components as well, because it's actually also a pretty important component, like the gateway or the load balancing. So it is coming.
Awesome. Okay. Another question that was asked: does your management pack use any sort of collector, or is it all SCOM agent doing all the work?
Just SCOM agents. We don't use any other agents, not necessary. So if you compare it to the old Contract management pack, you had to install separate agents next to your SCOM agent. That's not necessary. It's that way it's through SCOM management pack.
Perfect. Okay. I think we've covered pretty much all the questions we can cover on the webinar. There's a few that would need a sort of direct follow-up. So if we, first of all, just like to say thank you, obviously, for talking us through the solution and helping me answer my questions. There are still some sort of points that we'll cover, and again, like I said, there'll be a write-up of this along with the video. Guys, do you want to just give people some information on how to get in touch, how to get hold of your management pack?
Yeah, so all the information regarding all the monitors and rules we have a nice data sheet that is available on our website, GripMatix.com. And of course, we are also available on Twitter at GripMatix, and you can also find us on LinkedIn. Great.
And I believe you also have a session at SCOMathon, which is a free SCOM community conference next month. Is that right?
Yeah. I'll do one about resource pools doing remote monitoring and being able to do that in a multi-tenancy environment with all kinds of non-trusted domains, etc.
Awesome.
Obviously, you need multiple resource pools to do that. So and we will use the network monitoring wizard to do that. So
nice.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening to the webinar, anyone who watches it back on YouTube, if it's before the middle of June, feel free to go to scomathon.com and sign up. It's a full day, starting in Australia, ending in California, a full day of SCOM community content from experts like Merijn, many Microsoft MVPs. I think I'll even be giving a demo of SquaredUp, so definitely get signed up for that. Like I said, it's free and there's stuff going on pretty much every time zone. So yeah, just to quickly wrap up before I say thanks to the guys, if you do have any other topics you'd like us to cover in this series, head over to Community Answers, which is our free forum site, community.squaredup.com, and just post a question. You can also sign up for future sessions, squaredup.com/coffee break series. And like I mentioned at the beginning, the recording and the slides for this, as well as a nice comprehensive write-up, will be published on SquaredUp's blog later on. So yeah, Merijn, Marc, thank you very much for joining us today. Lots of thanks in the comments from the audience as well. A really interesting topic.
Yes, thank you for having us, Adam.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Thank
Thanks for showing off SquaredUp in dark mode. So yeah, that's it for today. But like I said, if you do have any questions, you can join the Slack channel. We'll keep the webinar open for just a couple of minutes if you want to post any other comments in, and we'll pass those on to the guys. So yeah, thank you very much, and see you next time.